Hi, my name is Simone Stumpf and I'm working on the Orbit project alongside a multidisciplinary team from City, University of London, Microsoft Research and University of Oxford. I want to thank my co-authors Lida Theodorou, Daniela Massiceti, Luisa Zintgraf, Cecily Morrison, Cutrell, Tobias and Katja Hofmann. In this talk, I will tell you about our work on the Orbit project entitled Disability-First Dataset Creation, Lessons from Constructing a Dataset for Teachable Object Recognition with Blind and Low Vision Data Collectors. First of all, why do we need to collect disability-first datasets? What we mean by disability first is that we would like to drive innovation of assistive technology by involving disabled communities first, which can then be generalized to help everyone. We firmly believe in a nothing about us without us approach for developing AI solutions through working deeply with participant communities. We are also mindful that data gathered by disabled collectors are fundamentally different. For example, images taken by blind collectors are different to those taken by sighted participants, and that the data should not be treated as outliers but form part of the mainstay of data to develop assistive technology. Finally, existing datasets, especially for our purposes of teachable object recognizers, are usually quite small, involve data collected from sighted users or simulated data, or are not suitable for few-shot learning approaches which underlie a teachable object recognizer. These reasons drove us to develop and validate a data collection procedure and infrastructure for blind and low vision data collectors that balance machine learning requirements and demands on data collectors. In the paper, we describe the procedure and infrastructure that we developed and how we validated these through iterative rounds of data collection, so please refer to it if you're interested in the details. We also describe 8 questions to ask yourself if you're endeavoring to collect disability-first datasets for AI innovation. Here, in the interest of time, I will only cover 4 and share our experience from the Orbit project. First, ask yourself if you're striking the right balance between machine learning requirements necessary for building AI systems and the demands this places on data collectors. Often, we simply assume that these machine learning requirements are fixed and that the collectors should just get on with it. However, especially in a multidisciplinary team, you should explore how both these needs can be brought in line. For example, in the Orbit project, we switched from collecting single images to collecting short videos of about 20 seconds, which gave us 300 frames to choose from. This increased the chances that an object would be in frame at some point in the video, which is a major problem for collectors who are blind or low vision. In addition, we developed different, simple-to-follow, body-centric instructions for recording videos that involved rotating objects, changing environments, and capturing various levels of detail. Throughout our project, spanning a pilot, intermediate evaluations, and 2 rounds of data collection, we tried to optimize our procedure, adjusting how many objects and examples to capture, change the video instructions, engagements with the community, and the infrastructure we use to collect data. Second, how will you cultivate informed contributors? To capture the best data, collectors need to have some understanding of how machine learning works. In our project, we used various strategies to educate collectors. We added an explanation of how AI gets trained and tested to our instructions to shoot videos. We held a lecture on artificial intelligence basics, understanding the tech in your pocket, about the assistive technology capabilities of smartphones as part of our engagement with the community. And we added lots of contact between researchers and collectors, including FAQs, training sessions to get collectors started on recording videos. And we also made sure that collectors understood the importance of ethical issues around privacy and confidentiality by stressing the removal of personally identifiable information from the public data set. Third, you will need to think about the integration between the data collection infrastructure and your procedure. For Orbit, we implemented an iOS app that was accessible to blind and low vision users. The app allowed collectors to add a new thing, record training and testing video with audio feedback and voice-over capability following Apple accessibility guidelines, and it also provided additional support for informed and structured data collection. It was integrated with a server that stored the data and also allowed us to validate the data to ensure it contained an object and did not include any personally identifiable information. This meant that while this infrastructure provided ideal support for our purposes, it was deeply meshed with our procedure and therefore reuse for further data collection is limited. Finally, do you have adequate resources in place to support data collection? One of the main questions here is how to incentivize and compensate data collectors. There are many perspectives on how to motivate data collectors. In Orbit, we paid £50 directly to UK participants in Phase 1, while in Phase 2 we gave £25 or the equivalent to a collector-chosen charity. However, we found that the financial reward that was deemed appropriate varied widely between locations and collectors' previous experience. We also found that treating them like crowd workers was not appropriate. Instead, we relied often on other motivations, such as them learning new skills, helping the community, and also that there would be a tangible outcome that could help ease the lives of people who are blind or have low vision. In this respect, we also could not provide a Teachable object recognizer app to motivate them, as that relies on having access to training data while we were collecting training data. So it's a chicken or egg problem. You can find out more about our project by going to orbit.city.ac.uk. The dataset we collected and an associated paper describing benchmark evaluations for developing teachable object recognizers can also be downloaded by visiting the links given in the paper. Thank you for following this talk.